Marcus Aurelius quotes that reshape your inner world. Stoic bloom. What if the most powerful emperor in Roman history whispered timeless truths into your modern chaos? What if ancient wisdom could quiet the noise in your head better than any self-help book on your shelf? And what if the battle you're fighting right now, stress, anger, uncertainty, could be won simply by mastering your thoughts? Then stay with us, because the words of Marcus Aurelius are not dusty quotes. They are weapons for the mind, shields for the soul, and torches for the dark. Part 1, the quality of your thoughts defines your life. Quote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. In a world saturated with distractions, it's easy to believe our happiness relies on something external. The next vacation, a promotion, or someone's approval." But Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, turned that narrative upside down. He declared that your inner dialogue, what you whisper to yourself when no one else is listening, is the real architect of your joy or misery. Let's take a moment to consider this. If your thoughts are full of worry, comparison, and resentment, then even the best moments will feel dull. But if your mind is tuned to appreciation, clarity, and discipline, even hardship becomes bearable. Stoicism teaches that we are not passive victims of fate, but sculptors of our perception. This isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing how you interpret what's happening. As Epictetus, another Stoic master, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Marcus knew this deeply. In the midst of wars, betrayal, and personal suffering, he wrote not for others but for himself, to remind his mind what truly matters. He chose thoughtfulness over impulse, reason over reaction. And so should we, because your thoughts are not background noise. They are the very blueprint of the life you're living. Now, before your mind runs off into a mental marathon of what-ifs, why not anchor it right here? If this resonates, hit that like button as if you're affirming your new mental blueprint. Subscribe so you won't miss the next Stoic insight that just might rescue your Tuesday. And if your friends are still arguing with strangers online, do them a favor, share this video. They need Marcus more than memes. Stoic bloom, where ancient wisdom grows modern minds. Part 2, don't be a slave to your emotions. Quote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." There is a profound shift that happens the moment you stop blaming the world for your suffering and start taking responsibility for your responses. Marcus Aurelius wasn't trying to sound poetic. He was stating a Stoic law of reality. The external world will always be unpredictable, unjust, and at times painful. But your inner world, that's your domain. We live in an age where emotional outbursts are glorified, where venting is encouraged as a sign of honesty. But Stoicism doesn't ask you to suppress your emotions. It asks you to master them. It reminds you that your mind is not a punching bag for circumstances. It's a fortress if you build it. When Marcus writes about not being a slave to emotions, he's not suggesting we become robots. He's suggesting we reclaim our agency. Imagine a man losing his temper because someone cuts him off in traffic. Who's in control in that moment? Not the man. His anger is. Now imagine responding instead of reacting, acknowledging the irritation but choosing peace. That is strength. That is freedom. The Stoic understands that emotions are not the enemy, they are signals. But like any signal, they must be interpreted, not obeyed blindly. We can listen to anger without becoming violent. We can feel sadness without drowning in despair. The moment we stop outsourcing our emotional state to events and people, we begin to live like true philosophers, not theorists, but practitioners. Marcus Aurelius led armies, governed an empire, and endured personal tragedy, not by suppressing emotion, but by ruling over his own thoughts. That's where power begins, not in controlling the world, but in mastering your own narrative. Part 3. Everything is just borrowed time. Quote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This quote isn't a call for fear, it's a command for clarity. Marcus Aurelius reminds us of a truth most of us try to forget. Life is on loan. You don't own your tomorrow. You barely own your next breath. And that's not a morbid thought. That's liberating. Because when you realize that everything, your possessions, your status, even your relationships, is temporary, you stop wasting your time on things that don't matter. Most people live as if they'll never die. They argue over petty things. They scroll through life, numbing their minds with endless distractions, imagining they'll start living once things settle down. But Stoicism slaps that delusion with a cold splash of perspective. You might not get another chance to hug your mother, to forgive your friend, to start writing that book. So why delay? Memento mori. Remember that you must die. The Stoics didn't repeat this phrase to be dramatic. They used it as a compass, pointing toward what's essential. Once you start living with death in mind, you begin to live on purpose. You choose your words more carefully. You waste fewer evenings. You stop living someone else's idea of success. Marcus urges us to act as if the curtain could fall at any moment, because one day it will. And when it does, the question won't be how long you lived, but how deeply. Still procrastinating on hitting that subscribe button? Just imagine Marcus Aurelius whispering in your ear, "You could leave YouTube right now. Let that determine what you click next." So go ahead, like, comment, share this with someone who's living like they've got 1,000 years. And subscribe so you don't miss the next Stoic reminder that your time isn't infinite, but your growth can be. Stoic Bloom, where ancient wisdom grows modern minds. Part 5. You control your mind, not the world. Quote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This quote is the Stoic battle cry. It's the anchor when everything outside of you spins out of control. Because let's face it, so much of life is wildly unpredictable. The market crashes, people disappoint you, your plans fall apart. If your peace depends on external order, you'll spend your whole life in emotional debt. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us, your mind is your kingdom. And in this private realm, you're emperor. You choose your response. You shape your perspective. You decide what story to tell yourself about what's happening. The Stoics weren't naive. They weren't out here pretending the world is gentle. They just knew trying to control the uncontrollable is madness. What makes you miserable is not the thing, it's your judgment of the thing. You weren't offended, you chose to be. You weren't ruined, you concluded you were. That's the difference between slavery and freedom. Strength isn't about dominating others. It's about not being dominated by your own thoughts. The real battlefield is not the world, it's within. And once you master that terrain, you become unshakable. Not because storms don't come, but because you stop giving them the power to define you. If you've made it this far and still haven't subscribed, ask yourself, are you controlling your decisions or letting procrastination win the war? Be the emperor of your scroll. Like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And hey, subscribe before the algorithm decides you're not worthy of Stoic greatness, Stoic Bloom, where ancient wisdom grows modern minds. Part 6, time is a river and you're not in control of the flow, quote. Time is like a river made up of events which happen and its current is strong. No sooner does one thing appear than it is swept away and another takes its place. Marcus Aurelius paints time not as a gentle stream, but as a powerful river, relentless, indifferent, unstoppable. And in this metaphor, we are not the ones steering the current. We are simply travelers on its banks, observers of its flow. The Stoics held a unique view of time. It wasn't something to conquer, but something to harmonize with. We waste much of life either clinging to what's already downstream or fearing what's coming around the bend. But time does not stop for our regrets. It doesn't pause for our anxiety. This quote is a call to presence. You cannot grasp the water that has passed, nor hold the current that hasn't arrived. But you can immerse yourself in the moment that's flowing now. So many people live as if they have forever. We delay the conversation, the trip, the dream, thinking the river will always wait. But the Stoic knows better. The river flows, and we flow with it. The wise man builds peace not by damming the river, but by understanding its nature. Let go of the illusion that you're owed more time. You are not. Life is not short, as Seneca says. It's just often poorly managed. And the moment you awaken to that, the current becomes your teacher, not your enemy. Conclusion. Walk the path, own the mind. Through the enduring wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, we've glimpsed a life not of ease, but of depth. A life where strength is quiet, where control is internal, and where peace is forged not in perfect conditions, but in a disciplined, resilient mind. These aren't just quotes, they are lifelines for the soul, forged in the fires of adversity and sharpened by centuries of truth. You now carry the responsibility of this insight. You can continue scrolling, or you can pause, reflect, and decide to walk the Stoic path more deliberately. Because wisdom, like fire, only spreads when you share it. Dear traveler of thought, if these words have sparked something within you, even the smallest ember of clarity or courage, then let's not let it fade. Subscribe to Stoic Bloom and let these timeless teachings anchor your days in purpose. Share this video with someone who overthinks, who suffers silently, who battles the chaos alone. Let's build a community not of noise, but of strength, not of escape, but of engagement. Your comment below may become the next person's clarity. Your like is a small act of alignment. And your subscription? That's a Stoic handshake across time and pixels. You're not just watching a video, you're planting roots in ancient ground, choosing stillness over noise, wisdom over impulse. Welcome to the tribe, Stoic Bloom. Let your mind bloom in the soil of ancient strength.